Hey there. It's been an interesting week in creator land, and I want to talk a little bit today about how you can protect yourself when things like TikTok are being shut down. And there's three things I want to make sure you do, so let's talk about them today. Here we go.
Welcome to the Course Creators HQ podcast, helping you navigate the latest techniques for creating and marketing online courses. And now, here is your host, Julie Hood.
Hi there. So excited you're here with me today. This will be a short and sweet but very informative episode, I hope. And then I also want to make sure you knew about the AI for Business Summit. It's coming up at the end of January 2025 on the 27th. So if you have not got your free ticket yet, please jump in. They are going to do some incredible events and training around using AI from a bunch of different speakers. I get to talk about using AI for course creation. Imagine that, and course creators. So come listen to my session and some of the other sessions too. The link is in the show notes if you haven't signed up yet. So come to the AI for Business Summit, and hopefully we'll get even more effective and efficient and use these tools to create even better content. And it actually has been an interesting time for creators this week. And as I was watching the scenario go down with TikTok and the shutdown and the not shutdown and what all was going on and everyone freaking out, I realized if we take a step back, there's kind of three things I want you to take from this that if you can implement, it will protect you more in the future if something like this happens. Because I remember there was a time, I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago when Facebook and Instagram went down and everyone was freaking out because they couldn't talk to their people. And if you are in a space where that could happen to you, where if one of these sites goes down, you are panicking because you can't reach your people, we need to make some shifts because you do not want the fate of your business and how well you can talk to people and reach people to be based on these social media sites. They're just too fragile. They're too, if things can change so quickly and so easily, they are constantly changing their algorithm and you can lose access. So yes, they are a great way to get in front of new people. However, I don't want you to be reliant on them to make your course business work. So here's the three things that I want you to remember so that you can be protected in case there's any more issues. And the first one is I want you to be building your own assets. So here's what I mean by that. Most importantly, you're building your email list. You are asking people to come join you off of TikTok, off of whatever social media account, and come become part of your email list, and that becomes your asset. And I like to think of it, I heard this several years ago, and this is so much fun, is thinking of your email list almost like an ATM machine sometimes, because you can send out an email with an offer and potentially it kicks out money for you. So imagine that. You don't always get that with social media because you never know how well things are going to perform and how many people are going to see it. But as you build your email list, you get better and better at knowing what's going to work with your audience, what they're going to respond to, what they will purchase. And so be building your own assets. The first one of those is your email list. And if you've got a freebie, let's add 3 or 6 more because there's lots of different ways that people can find out about you and things that are going to resonate with them. So keep always expanding your free gifts that you're giving out to get people to jump on the list. So that's the first thing, email list. The second thing related to the asset side of things is let's be posting your content on your own blog, on your own website, on your own place, in your own place. So just like, you want to be able to host a party at your own house, that's kind of what your website and a blog turns out to be. So another piece of this, and it's somewhat related, But I was noticing that folks who were posting on Medium, which if you've heard of it, it's sort of a place to do blogging, and they had changed their policies, and they were no longer good for the writers as good as they had been. And so once again, that's out of your control. That's out of your purview. So let's get your own blog, your own website, where as you're creating videos, you're posting them there so that you have this ongoing place of where you live, where your content lives, where people can find out about you. So build your own assets and get that email list going. And I know you hear people saying this over and over and over again, but it really is the essential piece of the puzzle. And I'm always remembering a particular launch that I did with one of my clients. And we had a ton of partners who were all promoting our free gift. And I couldn't figure out, this one particular partner had sent a ton of clicks, a ton of people we were tracking. He sent a ton of people to the landing page, and they weren't opting in. And I was like, what is going on? Because for as many people as he has sent, we should have a ton of folks who are subscribing. And so I talked to him, and I'm like, what are you sending out? Or like, what are you doing for this traffic? And it turned out it was, back in the day, it was Twitter traffic. And Twitter traffic was just scrolling through. They weren't really interested in signing up or doing, it was kind of mindless scrolling. And so they weren't signing up. And so that's why, yes, social media is good for getting in front of new people. All those clicks had never heard of us before, but it isn't as good as your email list at getting people to take action. So build that email list, build your assets. That's lesson number 1, build your assets. Lesson number 2 is I want you to have multiple sources of traffic. And this is a slightly more advanced step, but you want to get here as quickly as you can. And here's what I mean. So when you're getting started, you have to figure out what's going to be my main source of traffic. How am I going to find people? And you master one, and then I want you to keep adding in other outside traffic sources. So, for example, this podcast is one of my best traffic sources so that I can send and talk about things on here, give you guys links, and then you click through the show notes and you jump on things that I'm sharing. So it's one of the best traffic sources that I have, but it's not the only one. So I also do have my social media accounts where I'm sharing things. I have my email list. I have some things that show up automatically on Google in the search engines. I have partners that will send out things for me. So you can see there's this whole diverse set of traffic options, and it's like not having all your eggs in one basket. Like I've got multiple baskets of traffic. So if necessary, if something goes away, then I can kick up one of the other ones to get even more traffic. I could do episodes of this podcast twice a week and maybe get more clicks, or I could send out more emails and get more traffic. So I want you to work on getting to that place where you have multiple sources of traffic. Don't worry if you're not there yet. It is one of the more advanced kind of building things. And it's one of the things we talk about a lot with my one-on-one clients and with my Launchpad folks. So if you need some inspiration, we've got some great resources for you on getting traffic and getting all of this set up. So I'll add that link in too if you want to jump into the Launchpad coaching. It's one of those things that you can kind of jump in pretty much whenever you want to, and then we meet once a week and answer questions, but it's all laid out lesson by lesson for you. So think about that if you're really wanting some more ideas on how to get more traffic. Okay, number 3, and this is the one that's just kind of hanging out there and irritating. But it is important, so I'm going to tell you about it. But this is that I want you to back up everything you're doing. So for example, all the folks who had all of these videos on TikTok, they hopefully were downloading that content so that they could have it and use it and put it in other places. And there's rules about all of the audio and video and what you can use where, so make sure you check on that. But at least having the backup, so if they wanted to use that idea again, if they wanted to even recreate it, they have it somewhere. And so set up this stuff to automatically back up for you. Set up your email newsletters to go. What I did, and this worked really well to back up email newsletters, is I set up a Gmail account to where the only thing I use that for is to back up my emails. And so that address gets put on the newsletter, and then every time I send something out, that email is going to that address, and that's all I'm using it for. So it doesn't get mixed in with other stuff. It's only an archive of the emails I send out. So you can set up a free Gmail account, add it to your newsletter, and then you've got a backup happening. Obviously backing up your website, backing up any of that content that you're creating, so that if you need to come back to it later, you can, and you have this whole system of tracking put together. And so I'll tell you in particular, for me, backing up these podcast episodes has been really, really helpful, because I use this content over and over again, and I will sometimes come back to an episode and either repurpose it into an email newsletter. Sometimes I'll turn it into a presentation that I'll do maybe for a summit. Sometimes I'm just looking for content to share somewhere on social media or something to talk about. And I'm like, ooh, I think I already figured that out. What did I say before? So I have each episode gets its own folder, and inside that folder goes the original audio, also any kind of notes. Sometimes I do mini scripts about what I'm talking to you about, and so I'll put those in there. If once in a while I do video, you probably never see them because they don't make it anywhere yet. But if I do video, then the video gets recorded. But it's all in the same podcast folder. It's all right there, so it's easy for me to have a backup of that content. So between those things, and then I write also am backing up my website. That part I need to be working on right now because I think there's a problem with it. But you get the concept. Like, just set up these systems to automatically back up what you're doing and have it saved for you, and then you don't have to think about it, but you've got it in case something happens and one of the websites goes down. Same sort of thing on like images that you're putting on social media. So your Facebook images, your Instagram images, those kinds of things. I think it's a good idea to have them backed up. Whether or not you use them again is up to you, but you may turn them into something else and use them on a different site. So, having that backup, maybe all it is you've got the originals on Canva and that's your backup. So that works too. But just having thought about, okay, take the time to kind of think about what am I creating and where am I putting it if I wanted to get back to it later. So I hope these three things are a little bit of a boost and kind of a, oh yeah, I really do need to take care of this, because these are essential pieces of your course business, and I want to make sure you're covered in case anything happens with any of these other sites moving forward. So the three things were to build your own assets, that email list, your own website, your blog. Number 2 was to have multiple sources of traffic and slowly build up these different places where you can be getting traffic. And then number 3 was to back up. All right. Thanks for being here. What else did I tell you about? Oh, the AI for Business Summit or Launchpad, if you want to come join us for that coaching. And have a wonderful week. I hope you sell lots of courses, get in front of lots of students, and help lots of people. Thanks for being here and for doing what you do. Take care, and I'll talk to you next week.